Ebusia for your mamunyina akwaba kese eba HRE TV. So His Royal Empire Television, Jumedia, Jordan Umebia, Yadebramona, Yatuni Din said time with Tatapsen. It's proudly and highly sponsored by Tatapsen. And Tisabre may come for say Obefro Niana Nyaso Afreniana and Ayedi Nkomo Ama Bibia Koso Kamakama. And the topic now say the dust has settled. And you know the update on US immigration. A lawyer and then the Babetrin Komono. Or you're brand new to the show and also you're very very well um graded in the immigration law and to be my name be bra yeah what's Essien so far as immigration updates is concerned sabre ye be fa akwanya so na yakokoda abofo so yasre ase na ye djumede no ahyase about fast as na digimedi bro teacher ne di kan feel good services is our pay any mental health educator na say bia opobi ne ana babekasa say eye wankasa wabra bom na say bia ekuo bia wo join a promitia kwan wa feelgoodservices@gmail.com ebiom be come for feel good homes ama feel good homes bia wo di otito a ebema wonya asomdwe pama na wasaso etimi adwendwen afa abrabomo plans. Feel good homes to say our pass to legitimate associate litigations be anywhere also so promitia kwanye so also na more apartment or pokwa say East Legon Hills and Nigerian into no open apartment akakodema starting $35 a night to say nebo eda from Kamakama for omo 513-372-5758 na so all fee outside America, they are now the +1. Now count be +1 513-372-5758. And also my email address now feelgoodservices@gmail.com. Oswald Wellness LLC SA. So far as to say Ohio and Maryland no bet me anyway did you media kesi pa your clinic to say bet me aboa now I work here on your weight management. So also now betimi so as your primary care manager amount. Say IV hydration na pair or more family nurse practitioner papa pa betimi aboa na bibia akoso kama ewo honum. Omo number near 513-268-2740. Yenyaba Millicent Owusu Semen Control say ene me no yebe fighting financial ignorance. Ewo USA abrochimemu. They say into no enkolada dwia eba college fund and that's having a college fund plan and I say bia income protection obebo amani nyina to atwa ebiom no obesa so etimi amount asset up a great life insurance ebetimi aboa abra even woti asimple no betimi atape into that life insurance and no betimi ayamadu obusu nyina fra enwaba Millicent Owusu ewo 937-321-2270 and I say 937-270-9882. Offer a catching say picking a smile. Not discount to be a hobiano on for money be anya kama. Sabri me come for tata send amount. Say unye and download the tata send app and I say when you so tata send app and see idea not just a wakechri. Say who you so the so mesra say koswa sensika eko Ghana. But say what the da fa nkratoi ema unia onibi. So on download the app in the wall. Apple Store and I say Play Store. Now I feel the on download the app no offer promo code PK P-KAY and shame or $15 on the first transaction. Or we also saw a masaso ato emo bottle amano. And they'll send me screenshots of download now and I'm the emo bottle no abra or more or my in no so masa aka internet the crap issue crap. Yadama says Sabria ya acknowledge ya boafo a maso ya sene di dwumedi bra wono no mesa sro say onya na onya so mfeni nya na dwumedi no be very packed. It's going to be a whole lot of questions, it's going to be a whole lot of answers and a whole lot of information. With that being said, please share the link to a brother and also convince a brother to tell a brother to come on the show so that we can have a beautiful show tonight. At this time, you be caught tap and akache na yakokutie any update wo bia na yedahye so. Director Mr. Otemeka yema akwa baba adwumadi.
Piki, we dey major so. Didi kan yɛbɛda lawyer ase sɛ yɛfrɛ no sɛ ɔne yɛmɛni nkɔmmɔ ɔgye pene sɛ ɔne yɛbɛtwetwe ɔba bɛkyerɛ yɛ nneɛma bebree nti yɛbɛda mo ase. Tap akakye kakra bi ne yɛwɔ ɛka ɛm sɛ nnora last week yɛbobɔɔ nneɛma bebree so. Right now no, one thing I can say underline PK, I think this has been going on for some time, but last week complaints back by I think it can get to a lot of people. Nkrofo yi wa wani to scam messy.
Now,
Oma
what's this coming in a microphone?
na say PK we wani to say we
Hey,
nam for four dollars.
can say you.
Sɛ w'adwuma dɔɔso ahwɛ no nyinaa na wabɛyɛ ayi deɛ agya wabɛyɛ amanfoɔ somfo yi deɛ obiara yɛ w'adamfo nti wɔn nso wɔn hwɛ bi na agya wɔn ne wɔbɔ nkɔmmɔ nso nhu wɔn mu sɛsɛ yi nti saa na yɛbɛka no anyway on a more serious note I think adeɛ a nkurɔfoɔ no yɛ no wɔn ha yɛ wɔn tete so mɛsrɛ abusuafoɔ a mo yi so tap sɛ in order not to fall victim to these people no. Mr. Mo, anytime we be free or back at your say, yeah, the passcode be a mal be a Mr. Mo, say ye me, say ye PK, say ya no man or that tap na so, say ye a be kura or yere and now ukuno, Mr. Mo, sa passcode in there, it should be personal. Because the moment you give out and a pay, you fall a victim. Nipa no onya access to either your email or your tap or your bank app. Ti mesrɛ mo sɛ passcode no obi send a wode ka kyɛn sɛ wobɛkɔ bank hɔ no anaa whatever, don't give it out because what happened ne sɛ I mean there have been two incidents within 24 hours where same style same scamming style nti it came up baako ɔse ɔmo classmates ɛna ɛm sɛ ɔmo give out code to each and every mate. And so the code will be banned or the man and not me I register the year no their man. Or yeah, straight or scamming, I mean or hacking email. And or call email them said bro who said tap mail be an abibiaba. So straight away the guy was fast. And I or try so log in with the tap no resetting tap password. Straight pam 110 there no I take it away. The next one, I mean, within 24 hours, and the funny thing is, the same time was when I started in the sea. So it could be a team, and now I don't know. And it looks as if say scam, no, or more a link with local partners. I mean, Ghana service providers, no. In the moment, I'll be send this kind of pet name so many hints and na baby. So you be careful. So one for passcode, more, there's nothing they can do. The next one is so a tap or fray. I was say me person me body, but ne na account no is linked to one of your competitors into a pursue you free mono or yeah you want tap na scanner or send it no. So you should you really understand say the only no teams will monitor to who time or send this scan and we use that advantage or no so or the passcode ne send in a straight or hacking into the tap and then that's it. And also, he was able to take away $500, which was I mean 500 plus, which was huge. And see, mesremo adofo amwa mesremo anytime obi biya be can be no mesremo mamun fio. And then again, because I want to make a parish announcement. I mean, there's been addition of countries via away Europe, Australia, and other parts of the year abɛka up no ho nti mo a mobusuafoɔ hɔ no mobɛtumi asɛle Norway, Finland, Denmark and other places nso abɛka ho nti momfa nkyɛ me na me ho kyerɛ me kakra bi momfa nkyɛ me aha nti tap virtual card where wobɛtumi de sika agu so Now they are shopping were outside, waiting they receive whisker and a number of them. It became in person make us abewa. Kakra ye wɔ de ma mo no. Tap tap de pɛ sɛ yɛ album ɛda fie a obi awura mu a obi ebie mu hwɛ mu. Ti mesra mo anua abusuafo. Stay with us. We have a lot of ideas, a lot of add-ons for you. We want to make it a lovely app for everybody. CCR and Easter Monday. And last week said me kind no yes started yɛde yɛfrɛ no sɛ kosua no ato so no ma no wɔto nkosua bebree tu sɔre no paa na wɔmiamia so ebia na wɔawen ne promotion for Easter no so ɛno nso dem I think some Canada is not part, not because yɛmpɛ mo asɛm, but because of the laws in Canada. Florida, New York, and California, right? Because mona omunka agro no ho. Enye se yeta mo ye domo pa ochene bi ye de consider mo nyina ne de ye be sum nyina mo so aba. But for now, this is what we have, and unfortunately, because of the law, no, laws are wo nti. Ja America de minim pikin ne be chechire mu ye nti. Na just abusuafo de wo emamon no.
Director, yeah, that was it. Happy Easter to you too. Your friend is say, lawyer will have him so similar be church them we as a many. Look American laws, lawyer was even a be church them we. Yo, director, that's any update out there my from Tataps and I catch him. It was for allergies air hammy pa, you know. What is a meteswa now that kakra. I think in this show no so far we've not heard any request from anybody to make it strictly English. So I'll say we'll probably have lawyer make that discretion or whichever he feels comfortable to do the show. And then we'll take it from there. But lawyer, akwaba eba HITV. So Jumedia ya 20 days time with Tataps and this is the time at Tataps and I know say omobema we are suffering na teach the US and Canada ehun de ekoso ewa brabom. This association into your first time on the show. You're welcome to the show.
That's it. Happy Easter Monday to everybody. May I say, yeah, Fitiasiano, me kind of broth because Emrano, Ayana, ne chino, and some be a would the tuja na I had nama, but drew time why ye bisa questions no obi atuni bisa no question no o twi mu ana afanti
Kasabia opem
no problem me bomodan yeah nya kasabia opem kasabia ho a
oh ye benyo bia na translate amai obusa ye benyo bia na translate amai
all right
producer wo hon kwa dey insuro kra
okay then that
now lawyer tell us a little bit about yourself before say about us. So tell us a little bit about yourself in a nutshell, a minute or two. Who is lawyer Victor Essien?
Okay. Mr. T. Lord Wagana. 1977.
Okay.
And you calling me to the bar Wagana.
Wow.
And na teaching na michrade or law school Wagana. They call Nigeria, Jos, Nigeria, me culture there 4 years. And son I made back America. Basically, there, me doctorate in law or NYU. A free one, and a home family, Fordham Law School. And he also me trade or kopim tamwa me retire 2018. New York and US no. And me you call me to the bar or US 1985. And he my mraho juma fiti Sata no besine me trade nyina na me will practice or New York City.
Wow.
And he me started juma die no ache
Aye, we start here.
Teacher
Start
no a
here. Yeah, we
teacher
binom.
no a immigration ɛna meyɛ ho adeɛ.
That's it. That's it. Lawyer
That's it.
Victor Essien and your tenant no. Open the chair kwan or the law offices of Victor Essien. Ubenya no na afidie. Wetimi no idi nkita ho. Before you be no lawyer the information, ebe ma me atodwa na afidie. Wa ope any further consultation bi no. Betimi bookie section na he will go further with you. It's not part of their practice to solicit for it, but men are soliciting. No, it's okay, it's allowed. And your lawyer, they me say, men made it to one them. People want to get hold of him after the show, now it will be so much easier. So, lawyer, to proceed with the topic for today,
Mhm.
like the topic rightfully said, the dust has settled. And what are
Yeah.
the updates on US immigration? Can you please just walk us through that journey?
Okay, thank you very much. Okay. It's interesting. We're saying that the dust has settled, but quite frankly, it has not fully settled yet. There are still a lot of areas that are still in a state of flux. What I intend to do today is to highlight some of the changes that have already come to pass. And in some respects, I would also give my predictions of what is likely to happen in other areas. So, understandably, part of the dust has settled, but not all the dust has settled. I will start off by discussing the Alien Registration Act, which is the 1940 Act, but which Trump and his allies have dusted it and have put it out there. And as of April 11th, barely a week and a half ago, the law came into effect. What the Alien Registration Act requires is that every individual who is a non-citizen and is 14 years and above is required to register unless they have already registered. Who has already registered? Anybody who is a permanent resident or a citizen has already registered. In fact, if you have ever applied for any type of immigration benefit, you may already have registered. So it does not affect everybody, and it's not as scary as they are trying to make it look like. But if you are unsure as to whether you have registered or not registered, it behooves that you contact an immigration lawyer to find out whether, given your set of circumstances, you may be deemed to have registered or not. Individuals who have applied for DACA, for instance, or TPS, may not automatically have registered, but if they applied in addition for employment authorization, then they are deemed to have duly registered and do not have to register again. Why is it important to know about this law? Because if you are required to register and you don't register, there are serious civil and criminal consequences for your failure to register. You may be liable to a civil fine, or in some cases, even for a criminal penalty. In addition to that, if you don't register and subsequently you attempt to apply for some other benefit, they may pull that into perspective. And immigration law is essentially discretionary in a number of ways. And so if they are due to apply some discretion and you did not register when you were required to register, it might adversely affect you. Now, what you need to bear in mind is that registration has its pros and cons. The cons are that the executive order itself makes it very clear that the goal or the purpose of this Alien Registration Act is to identify individuals who entered without inspection and who are not registered and who may be subject to deportation. And in those instances, what they intend to do is to deport you or prepare you for deportation. So you need to bear in mind that you need to really make up your mind. Are you willing to take the risk of registration and the consequences that follow, or you are going to forego registration and then run into other difficulties at some point? So my basic position is that before you decide to register, seek legal counsel, because you are damned if you do and you are damned if you don't. That is the issue about the Alien Registration Act. When we start the question and answer phase, if there are any interesting nuances that I need to share, I would share them with you. Another highlight of the Trump immigration agenda is the rescission of the protected areas policy. Before Trump, and more specifically under Biden, President Biden had identified certain areas that were protected from immigration enforcement. These included schools, churches, hospitals, and the like. One of the things that President Trump did on January 20th was to rescind this protection that President Biden had enacted for the benefit of non-citizens. The idea is that certain areas should be free from the threat of immigration enforcement. You don't have to worry, or you shouldn't have to worry, whether you need to go to church or not, whether you need to go to school or not, whether you need to seek healthcare assistance or not. And this would be right, and this would be done through the protection of these areas. But what the Trump administration has done is to strip these protected areas of their protection. And now ICE is only required to use common sense in deciding to enforce immigration, arrest people, and process them for removal or deportation. And so it's important to bear in mind that this is what the Trump era has brought about as far as immigration enforcement is. And there have been suits or lawsuits brought to try and get the courts to have the Trump administration back down from this policy change. It's still ongoing, and we have not put a full stop to it. And until then, you and I ought to bear in mind that ICE is trying very hard to enforce this rescission that Trump and his allies had put in place. Another interesting change is the rule about expedited removal. What is expedited removal? Until the Trump era, the law used to be that only individuals who were caught within 100 miles of the United States border and who could not establish that they had been in the United States for upwards of 15 days could face the regimen of expedited removal. What expedited removal means is that you could be ordered removed or deported by an immigration officer without having to go through an immigration court. And until the change, not too many people were caught in this snag. But what the new change about expedited removal has done is that these days, you do not have to be within 100 miles of a US border. You could be anywhere in the United States. And if you could not establish that you have been here for upwards of 2 years, then you would be subject to expedited removal. And what it means is that an immigration officer, without the facility of due process, without the intervention of the courts, could force your removal or deportation from the United States. It can be very, very scary for anybody, but particularly for individuals who have no basis whatsoever of obtaining an immigration relief. So this is a rule that is new and we have to bear in mind. Another important change that I'd like to share with you is the change that has been wrought by the Laken-Riley Act. What the Laken-Riley Act did, it's the only act so far that has been passed by the current Congress on immigration. Most of what I've discussed earlier on, and most of what is tormenting us as non-immigrants have been through executive orders by the president. But the Laken-Riley Act was able to go through Congress, and Congress passed it, and the president duly signed it into law. And that deals with mandatory detention. Before the Laken-Riley Act, it was only individuals who have committed serious offenses like crimes against moral turpitude, the crimes of murder, manslaughter, and the like, who were subject to mandatory detention while they were fighting their removal process or procedure. What the Laken-Riley Act has done is to give another avenue to immigration to mandatorily detain individuals who are in proceedings. If such an individual has either been charged, and bear in mind, you don't not have to be convicted. If you are charged of, and it's ordinary offenses, not ordinary in terms of the fact that, they are not terribly serious, but they are garden variety crimes which until recently did not attract mandatory detention. And this is the crime of larceny, the crime of theft, shoplifting, assault of a law enforcement officer, and of course, any of the more serious crimes that have always been subject to mandatory detention. And these individuals, so you could be charged, not convicted, charged of shoplifting. And if it could be established that you were neither paroled or admitted into the United States, or you lack proper documentation at the time of your admission, you would be mandatorily detained until you fight your case and, of course, win or lose. If you win, of course, you will not have to be deported or removed. But if you lose, of course, you will be removed. And if you chose to fight it through the court system, through the Board of Immigration Appeals, ultimately to the federal courts, all this time you would be mandatorily detained. So that is very, very important to bear in mind. Now, let me talk very, very briefly about other areas where the dust has not completely settled, but it should give us some element of concern. And one of the things that I look at in this connection is DACA, or what they call Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals. This was an Obama-era facility that allowed individuals who were brought to this country without documentation as infants and meet certain requirements, namely that they have been able to go to school and completed at least a high school, and they have not been guilty of any serious offense. They would be able to apply for employment authorization and be protected from removal for a period of 2 years. And the DACA facility was also renewable every 2 years. And a good number of people have profited from this facility, which otherwise would not have been. As of September 2024, there were about 537,700 active DACA recipients. So it's been very useful and profitable for a good number of people. But even from the first Trump era, there were attempts to do away with DACA. And it went through the court system. And at the moment, the Court of Appeals has ruled that no new DACA applications may be made, but those who are DACA recipients will continue to renew and enjoy their DACA benefits. The point that I would like to make at this stage is that DACA seems to be on the chopping block. But in typical Trump fashion, while on the one hand he says that DACA is on the chopping block, he has also mentioned somewhere that any individual who is able to graduate from college, even a 2-year college, not necessarily a 4-year college, in his view, ought to be given a green card. So in terms of DACA, if that's all you have to consider whether there are other avenues open to you, because you never know what will ultimately happen, whether it will really be chopped out or it may be transformed into another more viable opportunity to remain in this country. Another immigration facility that we need to bear in mind is TPS, or Temporary Protected Status. Temporary Protected Status is a humanitarian program that various presidents and administrations in the United States have accorded individuals who hail from countries undergoing civil strife. And some of the countries from Africa that have benefited from TPS include Cameroon, Liberia, Sudan, and so on and so forth. Now, what TPS did was not to give green card to individuals, but it provided protection against removal or deportation of citizens of these countries that are beneficiaries of TPS. What is more, it also accorded them employment authorization so that they could legitimately work in the United States. What the Trump era has signaled is that there are some that they even sought to shut down, and there are others that they have signaled that if the program expires, as traditionally it does, it expires and then it's renewed by the administration. There are a good number of them. I mean, the case with Cameroon, for instance, will expire in June of 2025. And there are no indications as yet as to whether the Trump administration wants to extend it or not. To the contrary, there have been hints that it will not be extended. What I could predict, or I can predict, is that when it's about time for it to sunset, interested NGOs and legal defense organizations would seek to force the president's hand in extending it. And whether it will be extended or not depends on how the courts will look at it. But clearly, it's a humanitarian gesture. There is no legal requirement that the president or any administration has to grant temporary protected status. So if they choose not to, slippery slope to getting it chopped or being chopped and done away with. So that is the prediction with regard to TPS. There have been other changes that have been brought into the political asylum process also. And because political asylum is not a big deal as far as Ghanaians are concerned, except for the narrow area of individuals who are claiming to have been persecuted on account of their gender identities and the like. I will not spend too much time on those changes. This is my main presentation, and I think I will ask Piquet to open the floor to any questions
All
that
right.
individuals may have. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Lawyer Victor Essien. You have really given us some great nuggets, and we'll be willing to dissect it and absorb it with a lot of questions that will be coming your way. So, I see that Auntie Lizzie has a question for Startups and Director. When is the air game ending? Auntie Lizzie or Liz? Let me just say Liz because I'm not sure if it's Auntie Lizzie. Liz also stay behind after we're done with lawyer. The Q&A session for Startups and will be ready to answer that beautiful question for you. All right, Sylvia says Medase for English. Okay, Sylvia. Your English has been in place. William says, sorry, my tree is poor. My tree is too poor to follow, and I would like to have heard him. And he did actually, present everything in English. So, Williams, I'm sure you had the nuggets just like we all did. Brian comes with a beautiful question. What if you already have an alien number?
If you already have an alien number, then obviously you have duly registered. Typically, alien numbers are given with individuals who have contact with the USCIS or even ICE. And therefore, such individuals, even if your application was denied, even if you were ordered removed, you do not have to register because you are already registered.
Okay.
You are not the focus of the Alien Registration Act. It's typically for individuals who entered without inspection and have not applied for any benefit with the USCIS.
Yeah, this kind of threw me off a little bit because I remember before my days of joining the military, it was mandatory that anyone after the age of 18 must register for a selective service number. And that alien number has connection with a selective service number, right? Or it's two
No,
different things.
there's a selective service number, which is different from the alien number.
Okay.
The alien number is given by the United States Citizenship
Just for immigrants.
Immigration Service. Yes. The service registration number is given by the Selective Service Administration.
Okay.
And it is given to both citizens and non-citizens. You know, if you are a permanent resident within the ages of 18 and 26, you have to register under the selective service. But it's totally different from the alien number.
Okay. Thank you. Balfour says, if you were here before the law came into effect, do you have to still register?
The law came into effect originally in 1940, and it had been, it had not been enforced until yesterday, until April 11th. So yes, it doesn't matter when you entered, you have to, if you are 14 and above, then you have to register.
Okay. All right. Payo says, sir, please. I don't know if I should read the M too, but sir, please, my priority date is 1st December 2016. Unmarried son of U.S. citizen F1 category. Please, how long do I still wait for my interview date? Because it's been about 17 months since I finished my documentation. Thank you.
Well, we are experiencing considerable delays with regard to the consular processing. I'm assuming that you are outside the United States and hoping to be admitted into the United States following your consular processing, and that you have been deemed documentarily qualified. It's my assumption, right?
Well, I think we'll wait for Payo to respond to that.
If
Hypothetically,
this is so,
I think hypothetically we can just go with it, and
yeah,
if it's not, he would
if
just respond.
if that is so, then I have bad news for you. There are a number of people who have been documentarily qualified since 2020, and we are still waiting for their interview days. And
But his was 2016 though, so it was before 2020.
2016,
Yes.
what is the category? F1, you should expect, then chances are that you should be called pretty soon.
Okay.
Yeah, I wish I could tell you with precision. I have to go online to calculate the estimated time. But if it's 2016 and you are F1, that means the son or daughter of a US citizen and unmarried, then you should be expecting your case to be called up for interview very soon.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Kojo Frimpong says, does someone who entered US with a visa considered registered?
Yes, everybody who entered with a visa is deemed already registered and doesn't have to register,
Okay.
even if they have lost their status. In other words, you came into the United States with a B1, B2, that is visitor's visa, and you were given 6 months. The 6 months has already expired. You are out of status, but you are duly registered, and you do not have to go and register.
Okay. So Payo comes back to say your hypothetical is actually emphatic right now. So he's saying that yes, you're right. So the assumption that you had is what it was. But again, since the date is 2016, 9 years ago, like you said, he's kind of dealing soon. But you have to do the actual calculation to get the exact range when
Estimated
he will be called.
range. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Thank you.
All right. Okay, go back to Sylvia. Sylvia says, everyone listen to this part well. I think that she was talking about the part that you were getting into the last update. And Agatha says, please, what about citizenship at birth? Is it still valid? Is it still valid?
As we speak now, it is still valid. What we have heard, or what the president intends to do, is to take it up, and it has gone now before the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court is going to decide whether they can tamper with it or not. But this citizenship at birth, irrespective of the immigration status of the parent, has been written in stone. In other words, it's part of the United States Constitution, the 14th Amendment to the United States Constitution, that any individual who is born in the United States, irrespective of the immigration status of the parent, is deemed a US citizen. Now, what do I think the Supreme Court is going to do? My estimate is that there have been prior challenges at the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court came down on the side of birthright citizenship. And even though the current composition of the Supreme Court is 6-3 in favor of conservatives. We have seen very important shifts in the Supreme Court and its attitude to some of these important intractable issues. And my prediction is that they will not agree to the suggestion of Trump. In other words, birthright citizenship will survive.
Stand. Okay.
That's my prediction.
All right. Frank A says, lawyer, I have a child under 11 years old who holds an F2 visa, although I have registered him for WIC and Medicaid. Do they also need to register according to the new requirement?
If you say that they entered with an F1 visa, then they're already registered. F2, they're already registered. You don't need to register them.
Okay. Jay says, lawyer, do you have any advice for international students?
Yeah, it's been very scary following the immediate few weeks for international students. Now, what the Trump administration is trying to do is that if you are if you are an international student, you do not enjoy any First Amendment rights. So ultimately, I think that the courts could even rule in favor of international students, but who wants to undergo this drag of being harassed and taunted and threatened with removal or deportation or the revocation of your student visa? You have to bear in mind that if you are a student visa holder, you are here at the discretion of the administration. And things that former US governments never dreamt of doing has now become commonplace. So be careful what you post online if you are an international student. Be careful when you feel tempted to go and attend a demonstration or a protest. In short, I'm ashamed to admit it, but I'm just going to say that if you're a foreign student, you just have to keep a low profile, period.
All right.
And hopefully one day, the United States will be United States again. And all individuals, including non-citizens, will enjoy some of the basic constitutional rights that they have historically enjoyed.
Okay. Lawyer Patrick Ambofa says, I'm glad to be here. My question is, should a lady be employed before she can file for marriage for her husband in the US?
Well, there are two issues here. If it's a genuine marriage, you don't have to worry about whether your wife is employed or not. She will have to file an affidavit of support on behalf of the husband. But if she doesn't have sufficient income or doesn't have any income at all, what they would need is a co-sponsor or a joint sponsor who is either a US citizen or permanent resident who will agree to provide financial support for the beneficiary husband of this unemployed woman.
Okay. Grace says, any advice to those in Canada? I know the answer is pretty short.
I mean, if I were in Canada, I wouldn't be moving here. That's what I would say.
Okay.
You know, I think that Canadians have already taken their own counsel. Even those who have vacation homes in the United States are either selling them or not visiting the United States. Who wants to be taunted and abused by, another country? So, no, I mean, if I were in Canada, I wouldn't be running to the US. Hopefully, a day will come when things will become normal again
All right.
and Canadians may consider coming here.
Okay, we're gonna read a few more questions on Zoom because these questions are coming from Zoom and YouTube. Then after that, we're gonna go over to Facebook and ask some questions from Facebook as well. So Nana says, if I received my EAD today, how long am I expected to receive an update on my I-485 if the PD is January 31st, 2025?
No, I didn't get the first part of the question.
So he's asking if he received his EAD today, how long
Yes,
is he expected to receive an update on his I-485 if the PD is January 31st, 2025?
quite frankly, I've been having cases where individuals have been called for the I-485 interview even before they got the EAD. I mean, it's not normal, but it's happening. I think what the USCIS is doing now is to expedite all new cases. I have cases that were filed, and these were I-130s and I-485s and I-765 filed the same time before or immediately after January 1st. And we've already been scheduled for interviews for May.
Okay.
So what is going on now is that they want to catch you by surprise, call you for an interview as soon as possible, and even before you can enjoy the benefits of your work permit. And so you should be ready. If you have already received your EAD, you should be hearing from them pretty soon.
All right. A very good one from Sylvia. She says, is there a place that lists all the crimes that are under the Lacking Riley Act, all crimes that are subject to detainment?
Yes, in fact, simply put, if you were to Google Lacking Riley Act, you will find a number of interesting short pieces, and practically all of them will list these offenses. So I'll just have you Google and find out.
Okay. Yeah, Opoku Debra says, is it advisable to start N1W application now or wait for some time till things stabilize?
NIW, National Interest Waiver. Is that what
N1W. I don't know if he was trying to say NIW.
Is it National Interest Waiver? Can you ask from him?
Okay, yeah, Opoku, can you confirm whether it's national interest waiver or it's the this is something else? I'm pretty sure that's what it is.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Well, look, if you are eminently qualified, there is no reason why you should wait. I mean, are you going to wait till after 4 years? Are you going to wait for after 2 years? If you are eligible, you should put it in. Because what I've realized is that in spite of the rhetoric and all the noise making and all the threats, individuals who are qualified either in family petitions or employment-based petitions, there has been practically very little change in the success rate. So I wouldn't want you to wait just because, of the current administration. But, NIW is not an easy procedure. And you have to make sure that you have consulted an attorney to confirm your eligibility before you put it in. Don't sit in your room and fill out the forms and put it in and expect to go through. But if you are qualified, you don't have to wait.
Okay. All right. A quick message from Facebook. One of the messages that we have coming from Paul Sefa. Paul Sefa says, "Good evening. Good evening back to you, Paul Sefa." Frank A says, "Lawyer, would you advise on international students to go for EB to NIW?"
Yeah, this is similar to the question that
Earlier.
earlier. I'm saying that if you are eligible for it, if you have checked and verified your eligibility, yeah, it's an option that is out there. As of today, there has been no threat to get rid of them. It is still available. And so, provided you are eligible, you should be able to apply for it. And
Okay. Those of you with your hands up, I see you guys. I'll call you Kwesi, Abdul Razak, and also Fatih. I'll call you all, but just give us some time to read the comments so that it doesn't pile up and missing others. So just stay tight. I'll just call you guys when we get there. George Maunyo says, "Can a Ghanaian U.S. citizen be deported for committing crime like shoplifting?"
definitely not.
I'll be very surprised with that one.
No U.S. citizen, whether by naturalization or by birth, can be removed for the commission of a crime. No matter how heinous the crime is, you cannot be removed.
Okay.
Mm.
Dear lawyer, this is coming from Fatih. Can the children of an asylee under 12 years who already have visas visit their parents in the USA for vacation, holiday, and return back to Ghana, looking at the current legislature?
Well, if you are an asylee, you know that I assume that you don't want your children to come and live here. That's why they are coming on a visa. But you know that as an asylee, within 2 years of your being granted asylum, your children can follow to join you if they are under 21 years. So that's the first thing to bear in mind. Now, if they do not want to come and follow to join or live here, and they just want to come on a visa, yes, clearly, depending on how they got the visa, did they say that their mother lived here? Were they honest in their visa application? If they are honest in their visa application, then there should be no reason why they cannot visit.
Okay. I think that can get a little bit personal, so I'll probably say, Fatih, you might want to contact the lawyer to get more details. So Tony Yabo says, "Can we have your contact information?" So lawyer, if you don't mind giving us the office contact information so that people can reach out to you after the show and book some sessions. If you mention it out, producer can type it in the comment section for people to join. Also, A-Class and Director Danny, as well as producer, can you guys please put the both chat room links on it so that people can click on the chat links and join. We have the HRE TV, which is the His Ryan Pie chat room or chat family chat, whereby we go there to discuss topics that we want to see and hear in the future. And also we have the Top Send platform where everything is discussed there concerning issues with your app, or even having questions and concerns for our try to get a contact information for any of our speakers, that can also be taken care of over there. So whilst lawyer is trying to put his information over there, please bear in mind when you see both links come through, join those links and also be a part of it. Like, you know, on the HITV chat link, every week there's a poll that we set for topics that you guys want to hear, and once those topics, the topic with the most votes, we end up, you know, soliciting for resource personnel to come and educate us on what we need to do. And again, please take advantage of that and make sure that is well adhered. And once the links are up to, I'll, you know, echo on that to let you guys know as well. Laura, please let me know when to proceed with the questions.
Okay. Yeah, I was trying to put down my contact details, but
if you want to say it out,
yeah,
producer
okay,
can type
all
it.
right. The phone number is 646-742-9314.
So hold on, 646-742
742-9314.
9314, and that is the first number.
That's the first number, and the second number, you should call that. That's my cell phone.
Hold on, but would you like to put your cell phone on air?
Or yeah, that's what I want to keep it. I mean, when we establish a relationship,
then you can go ahead and give yourself a yes. Let's do it that way so that we don't get you bombarded by this and now and then. When I try to call you back to the show, like PK crab, you know about show this, so about me that and that. It's, you know, once you get an establishment from people who want to proceed with the consultation, then maybe the cell phone number will be an easier way to get a hold of you then. But please call his office line. Producer is going to put a number on it. Book an appointment and just get to talk to him. Let him know you heard of him through the show Time with Top Send on HITV, so that he can actually put a face to your name and also know that, hey, this is coming from, a recommendation from us to him, so that, I mean, he can work a good deal with you as well. And once you get that taken care of, like he said, as time goes on, when you guys build a rapport, you guys can communicate easier and much better based on everything. So this question,
I'd like to leave my email address.
Your email address, okay.
Yeah, it's also Essien 06
so
at
Essien as in
gmail.com.
THE?
No, V as in Victor.
Oh, V, or like your first name. So V, then E, so VESSIEN
06
at
gmail.com.
At gmail.com. So the email address again is VESSIEN 06 at gmail.com. Producer is gonna put both information over there so that you guys can have access to it, and we'll try to highlight that information as well too. So please, be mindful, and just make sure that when you call, you do the needful so that you can get your information taken care of. Araba says, please sir, how can a non-immigrant holding J1 and J2 visas get a green card? Thank you.
There are essentially two main ways of getting a green card. It's through family petition and then employment-based petitions. There are others, like asylum and other, but it's not very regular. So if you are a J1 or J2 visa holder and you have a US citizen husband, they can petition on your behalf. And since you entered with inspection, you will be able to adjust your status in the United States. This is true for practically everyone who entered the United States with a visa. Now, This is true even if their visa, ultimately their non-immigrant visa expires. What if your husband is a permanent resident? When a permanent resident files for you, you will not, or you may not be able to get your adjustment in the United States. And so it's better for you to wait until your spouse acquires US citizenship, and then you may do the conversion as appropriate.
Okay.
As a J1 visa holder, you are also have to bear in mind that J1s, there are some J1s that are subject to a 2-year foreign residency requirement. In other words, J1 and J2s that have been deemed to require a foreign residency program means that before you can adjust your status in the United States, you must either get a waiver or you must establish that you have gone home for 2 years before returning to the United States. So the first thing you need to do is to find out whether your visa is subject to a 2-year foreign residency requirement.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
Lawyer, we're gonna go to Arabiatu Maiga. It says, "Hi, sir. Please, does this law apply to VAWA applications too?"
Which law?
I'm pretty sure he's talking about the alien registration.
Oh, if you are eligible for VAWA, then it means that you've already registered. So you don't have to register based on the fact that you intend to file for VAWA.
Okay. GA says, "Does overstaying my visa, say J1 expiration date, although my status is still valid due to a program extension, affect me when I am applying for a different visa, say F1? In other words, is there any penalty for something like this, or my valid status is what matters and not the J1 visa expiration date?"
Frankly, it is the J1 visa expiration date that is cardinal. So do not allow your J1 visa expiration date to catch up with you. Now, maybe moving from J1 to F1 may not attract the 2-year foreign residency requirement, but anyone on J1 visa status who wants to apply for an immigrant visa should bear in mind that they should make sure that they have taken care of the foreign residency requirement, either through foreign residence or a waiver duly granted by the USCIS.
Okay. All right. BK says, "Lawyer, is it advisable for green card holders and people with expired conditional green card holders with green card receipt with receipts noticed to travel internationally?"
Yeah, typically these days, if you file for the I-751, in other words, if you file for the joint petition to remove the conditional basis of your green card, you will obtain a notice of receipt. And the notice of receipt will clearly state that armed with this receipt and your already expired green card or conditional green card, you can travel abroad and you are allowed to work.
Okay.
So yes, I am not aware of anybody who has had any problem returning with the receipt and their expired green cards.
Peggy at 3213 says, I recently got my permanent resident permit. Can I travel to my home country without having any issues when coming back?
Yeah, you have your green card, you can travel.
All right.
I mean, I know why people are asking these questions. There are a number of videos and postings on social media, some illustrating that individuals with green cards are being asked to withdraw their green card and sign off their green card and be deported. Most of these, don't sound credible to me. Basically, if you have a green card, you haven't committed any crime, and if you committed a crime, it's been forgiven, and you have been granted a green card. If you do not overstay when you travel abroad, you can come back without any problem.
Okay.
Mhm.
For time purposes, I'm gonna read this last question, then we're gonna go to Zoom, and we're gonna come back after, because technically we have lawyer up to 7:30, unless he give us some benevolence and decide to temper time. I mean, decide to temper, favor with time and allow to, extend a little bit. But I will try to meet the time given to him, which was 7:30, so that we can have him get on to this other stuff. So Nana Benito says, greetings to everyone. Nana Benito, greetings back to you. I'm gonna read this last question, then after that I'm gonna go to the Zoom voice. Then after that, if there is time, I'm gonna come back to the questions. Akash says, what's your view on the fate of OPT? Do you think it will be axed?
Well, there have been chats or discussions of OPT being waived because they affect the ability of US citizens to get employment and so on and so forth. My estimate is that it will not be on the chopping block. Maybe the STEM types may have their period of OPT limited back to the original 12 months. But even that, my educated guess is that it will not be tampered with. They
Okay.
will still enjoy, the facility of employment post-practical, post-graduation.
All right. I see that Fatih dropped her hand, and she asked the question over there, so maybe her question has been answered. And guys, if you already asked the question, tap the question. I mean, allow those who have been asked questions to talk. So, Kwesi, I just unmuted you. Just go ahead and click the unmute button and go ahead and tell us where you're calling from, and please make your question very brief so that others can get into it. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, PK.
Yes, sir.
My question to lawyer is
Kwesi, where are you calling from?
From New York.
New York, yes, sir. Proceed.
Yes. So it has been on the news that citizens are being detained at the point of entry, example, the Canada, and their phones are being taken away from them. So my question is, in case this happens, what should you do or say? Thank you.
Thank you, Kwesi.
Yeah,
Oh.
it's a very good question.
It is.
And I have come across a few individuals who have complained about that. And in fact, in some cases, people are using burnt phones rather than their smartphones to evade the scrutiny of the USCIS. Now, when you are entering the United States, they could ask you for your phone, and so you just have to be careful what you put on your phones. I don't think that resisting it or insisting on your rights will cut it in those circumstances. Because when you are at the port of entry, a lot of your constitutional rights are suspended. So I wish I could give you a perfect answer for this, but I would say you should be careful what you put on your phone.
And when you say that, does that go for citizens too?
Quite frankly, yes. Anybody who is at the port of entry can have their phones checked.
Oh,
And it's not because you are a non-citizen.
okay. Abdul Razak, Commodore. So I've just unmuted you. Please tell us where you're calling from and also your quick question. Just so you know, back in Ofori-Asenso, that was my name. No, actually, that was Abdul Latif. Yeah, maybe if me ding. Abdul Razak, where are you calling from?
Greetings to you all, calling from Virginia.
Oh, yes.
I have
No,
two
Neo
questions.
say,
Yes, sir.
go ahead.
I have two questions, quick ones.
Mhm.
If you are married here and you still have your green card, you are about to file for citizenship,
Mhm.
and you have kids with another woman back home, like little kids. Can you file for them during applying for your citizenship? That's the first question. And the second question is,
Hold on,
if
hold
you
on.
are a citizen,
Abdul, hold on. I think, lawyer, you had a hiccup over there.
Yeah, I missed part of his question.
okay,
Abdul, just repeat the first question again.
okay. You are married, right?
Yes.
You have your green card. You're
Mm-hmm.
about to file for citizenship, and you have kids back home with another woman, unmarried,
Mm-hmm.
two little kids. Can you file for this case during applying for your citizenship? That's the first question.
Okay.
Can
Let,
you
let,
file
let
for the
me
case?
let me understand that, Abdul. Let me understand that. You got your green card through marriage to a US citizen, correct?
Yep. Yes, ma'am. Yes,
And
sir.
and during the pendency of your marriage, you got another woman pregnant
Mm-hmm.
in Ghana,
Mm-hmm.
right? Yeah.
Yes, sir.
And you are about to file for your citizenship. You want to know
Yes, sir.
whether you should put. I mean, in all fairness, if they are your children, whether you had them out of wedlock or not, they should be part of your application. Now, are there consequences? Are they going to doubt the veracity of your marriage to the US citizen? Possibly, yes. You will have to explain to them how you got another woman pregnant when you were married to a US citizen. They may question you about that.
Right.
They will definitely question you about that. But the answer is that when you are filing an application with the USCIS, you have to be always truthful.
Right.
And if there's a good reason why you got this woman pregnant in Ghana and had not one but two children, you have to also be ready to explain why. Now, and how long have you been married to your US citizen?
Oh, 20,
How many
okay, like
years?
20, 20, 20, 25 years.
So you've been married to her for 25 years.
Yeah, 20,
And you
25
got
years.
your green card, and you got your green card when?
Like 16 years back.
And you didn't file all this time
No,
for citizenship.
no,
No, I think that, look, you may have a good reason why you got another person pregnant. Maybe the marriage had broken down, but you never got round to filing for a divorce, or you
not
never
really.
got round to
Hello,
filing for, yeah, right?
still married.
You are still married. You still love her. You want to stay with her.
Lawyer, it
Yeah,
could be, it
well,
could be, it could be an
yeah.
agreement of them having kids because maybe the other partner cannot have a child or
Yeah.
something.
All right.
Mm,
So basically, the fact of the matter is that you have a good reason why you got somebody else pregnant.
right.
But clearly, when you are filing for your citizenship, you got to put down the names of all your children.
Okay, Abdul, because of
Yes, sir.
time, go to the second one so that we can have other people
The
also
second
speak.
one is U.S. citizenship. How long
Mm.
can you stay? How long can you be away from the country?
U.S. citizen can stay indefinitely.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Then you know.
Mm.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Abdul, for your
Thank you so
comment.
much.
No
And thank you
You're
so
problem.
welcome.
much, okay. Thank you
No
so much,
problem.
sir. Yeah.
All right. So as we see more hands coming, George, I know you've already asked a question in the comment section. I'll call you later, but just bear with me. Comfort, please unmute yourself and tell us where you're calling from.
Hi, my name is Comfort. I'm calling from Nebraska, Omaha. I do have a question for Lawyer. My question is that I'm planning a trip to Ghana this in June. I do have a U.S. passport and American passport. Can I get?
Hold on. What is the difference between U.S. passport and American passport?
I'm sorry, U.S. passport and a Ghanaian passport.
Okay. Go
I'm
ahead.
so sorry. So with the new laws, my question is, can I get visa on arrival in Ghana instead of applying for a visa in my US passport here?
Good question.
Honestly, with a Ghanaian passport, you don't need a visa to go to Ghana. And nothing will happen to you if you enter Ghana on your Ghana passport. But
Oh,
when
okay.
you are coming back, you come with your US passport. It is not against the law. I mean, I know where this question is coming from. There have been
Right.
a lot of posts that seem to suggest that you will be questioned as to how you entered Ghana. The United States doesn't care how you negotiate your entry into another country. That's
Okay.
between you and that country. You are a Ghanaian, by birth or whatever, and or you have a Ghanaian passport. So you enter Ghana with your Ghana passport, and you coming back to the US, you have your US passport, so you will enter. You don't need to go and get a visa either here or in Ghana.
Right. I've traveled like twice or three times with using just using my Ghanaian passport and using my American passport to come back. But with recent news and with the recent Trump stuff,
Yeah, comfort. I'm not trying to cut you off, but I think she's saying the same thing that he said, but time now so no, please let
right.
me
Thank you
grab
so
a lot of
much.
people. Yeah,
Appreciate
let me
it.
grab a lot of people. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
All right. We're gonna call upon Eduboa Hine Ifia Adoma. Eduboa Ifia Adoma, please unmute yourself and tell us where you're calling. Please, in less than 30 seconds, give us a
Okay.
question.
Okay. So please, I'm here with an H-1B visa. I'm a nurse actually working in here, Maryland. But due to some reason, I couldn't bring my children to me with me when I was coming. So now that they are having their interview date, so I want to know if it's safe for me to go back to Ghana for them, or would you advise me otherwise?
No, can your children attend the interview without you? You don't need to go and accompany them. Are they old enough and savvy
No.
enough to navigate your presence would be needed?
Yes, because the oldest of them is like 9 years, 6 years, and 4 years. So
Okay.
I'll have to bring them back
Mhm.
when coming. So I have to
Yeah.
travel back with them as well.
Yeah, but your visa is still current, isn't it? Your
Yes,
H-1B. Yeah, your
yes.
H-1B visa is still current. I don't foresee any problem with your going and coming back. Make sure that your visa is current. There has been no change to your status whatsoever.
Okay, okay.
Mhm.
Thank you very much.
You're
All
very
right, thank
welcome.
you. The next person is gonna be uh Din. Din, please unmute yourself and tell us where you're calling from. If you are Doma, can you please put your hand emoji down so that we can see the rest of the people? Thank you so much. Din.
Yes, sir. Good evening,
Oh,
and
Din, before you proceed, lawyer, it's 7:30 right now. Do you have some time more to spare after that 7:30?
I wish I could stay but I have a program
Mhm.
in another 15 minutes that I need to prepare for.
Okay.
So maybe we'll take one more question
One more after
and
Din or just Din?
one more after then, and then
Okay.
we'll be done. Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
okay.
Welcome.
Thank you for the time. I'm Dean calling from Florida. I have a 12-year-old son who is on green card, and I am a citizen. I want to know if I have to register him.
No, your green card holder son doesn't need to be registered. He's good to go.
Copy.
All
Thank
right. Thank you. So, George, please bear with me because you already asked the question that I've already read. B hasn't, asked it. Let me take B, please. Bear with me. B, please unmute yourself and tell us where you're calling from.
Hi, I'm calling from Georgia. I'm calling as an F1 student, and I wanted to find out because I used a pre-OPT and OPT before graduation, and it feels like I will not be able to graduate in May, and my OPT ends in July, and most likely date for graduation is August. So this is probably going to affect my job, and that's not the most concern. The most concern is how do I handle this? Because it might affect my status generally because I was supposed to extend to STEM OPT and that is not happening. I don't know. The DSOs are telling me that if I don't graduate in May, I have to graduate in August and that affects my change of status and my STEM OPT. So what would you advise here if you understand what I'm saying?
I do, but honestly, in these matters, I would always listen to what your foreign student advisor is telling you. If they think that it will affect it, then that's. Do you have to take any courses after your your status expires? Do you still have to take courses, or it's just for purposes of serving out your OPT? Are you there?
B,
I think we've lost her.
B, can you, she, B, unmute yourself.
Can you hear me?
Yes, yes, we
It
can hear you
wasn't
now.
letting me unmute. So no classes needs to be taken. It's just a dissertation defense. And that's all that's left to be done.
What I didn't get your answer. No classes?
No classes in court classes needs to be taken, just a dissertation defense that is being held back.
Yeah, that's still part of your
Yeah.
and
Hello?
All right.
can you get yeah, are you there?
Yes.
B,
Yes.
can you get the foreign student office to extend your F1 stay to the end of your dissertation and forego yes, go
They
ahead.
tried to do that, but because the OPT has already been used, the pre and post OPT have already been used and it ends in July. So after that July, I have to be able to extend to STEM and I can't extend to STEM after July. That's what I was told.
Yeah, that's a tough one. But as I said, I usually will listen to what the foreign students office is saying.
Okay.
And you may have to do, submit your thesis while you are abroad. You cannot apply for H-1B, right? I assume.
The H-1B has been, the lottery system has gone through and I didn't get in.
You didn't get it.
No.
That's what I was afraid of. You cannot sign on to another degree program while you haven't completed the other one too, right?
That's true.
Yeah. You seem to be in a very difficult spot.
Yeah.
Lawyer, I think the best decision is for her to call you.
Later on she can
Okay.
call me or send me an email. Yeah.
Okay, well,
So,
thank you.
All right.
lawyer's email is vassien06@gmail.com. So it's VESSIEN06@gmail.com. That is the email to the lawyer. Please make sure you email him. And also the telephone number is 646-742-9314. Again, the number is 646-742-9314. Ebusiafo, I would like for you all to, please, pardon me, due to time's sake, we couldn't, ask all the questions that were up here. Lawyer, this last question is actually from me, so I would like to, throw that in there before we run out. Has there been any changes in the IR1 visa process? And because instead of me asking my friends, and I was asking everybody else, and I almost lost out of mine.
Yeah. Quite frankly, there has not been any changes to the immediate relative categories at all.
Okay.
Neither have they threatened with possible changes. So you are in a good spot.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, lawyer. I want to say, we want you to come back again. That's why we don't want to abuse your time. And we have the understanding viewers, and they do understand why we have to we've already passed 7 minutes of the time that allotted to us. And we want to say a big thank you for coming. And I know that all those questions, the next time that you'll be here, will be answered. And please, again, the number of the lawyers on the screen right now. It has been highlighted on Facebook and YouTube, HITV, and also Tatapsen Ghana Facebook as well. So please make sure that you actually, contact the lawyer via email or, call his number and just, book an appointment and talk to him. And I want to say a big thank you to our veteran actress, Vivian Achol, for actually linking us up with Dr. Victor Essien, because without her, we wouldn't have access to him. So our veteran actress Vivian Achol, Madam Namisha Bebre, and she sends her regards to you as well. She couldn't join for some reason because of the passcode to the Zoom. Some people were having issues with it, but then she sends a big regards to you. Lawyer, at this point, I'm gonna call upon Tatapsen leaders to sign you out and wish you well before you leave. So, director, please, can you sign lawyer out since we're already behind time so that he can leave? Director A class or Director Danny, if one of you guys can sign my, please. Oh, he needs to be unmuted. Producer, can you unmute him, please?
Uncle Victor, who you can say, I mean, and shout for all the knowledge and the information what the MIN. God richly bless you for your time you spent with us and taking us through the steps to this time. No, really appreciate it. On behalf of all the members of HRE TV and also Tatapsen, we are so grateful. God bless you. I wish to come on camera, but my camera was paused and I cannot turn it on. But all this, I will say thank you very much and God bless you. Stay blessed.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome. Thank you all. And it was a pleasure meeting you all virtually.
Thank you, lawyer, and
Thanks.
hope to see
Okay.
you again soon. Thank you
All
very
right.
much. For lawyer information is there, so please make sure you contact him. At this point, we draw the curtains with our lawyer, and also want to say big thank you all for coming. Please, the links have been posted as well in the Zoom chat. So please, the WhatsApp chat room for HITV, where we discuss solely topics of what we want to hear and treat on the show, has been posted, and also, and this is the link for that, and also the Tatupsen platform, where everything concerning Tatupsen, sending money back home issues, and also any as suggestions and also contributions that you have, and also if you want to have more information concerning any of the programs that we've done as well, we discuss over there. So please click on that one, and I'll say click on both links and join our platforms, and you're really gonna enjoy the information that is shared over there. And also, you become the first person to have access to even have a say in the topics that we treat over here as well. So please make sure you do so. Once again, I can't thank you guys enough. You guys have been awesome. You guys have been great, and on behalf of my producers and myself, we say big thanks to you all for coming and for sharing to reach a wider range of people. Those of you on Facebook, yeah, can say Yamishramo. How to say any Facebook, any YouTube no besi. But we're still gonna be on Zoom for the Q&A section for Tatupsen. Matter of fact, our first question today, our first comment today pertains to the Q&A section part of it. So we're going to make sure that we take care of that. And once again, want to say big thanks to Lawyer for making time out of his busy schedule to be part of us today. It's been nothing but blessing and also full of nuggets that will help us to navigate through our immigration process with ourselves and our family. God bless you all. See you guys next week, same time, 6 p.m. right here on HRTV. I'll hand over to Uncle Jimmy whilst Uncle Jimmy take over from me